Hey Chris. Okay, so again, I apologize for not having the audio working. I think I figured out what the problem was. So let's just quickly take a look at what we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks. Um, we always said that there is a natural minor and a natural major. I've often flip-flopped between calling them natural and calling them relative. So let's say we are in the key of A minor, all right? So if we're on A minor, then we're at the 5th fret on the low E string, all right? And the mode that we would use for that would be the Aeolian mode, and that starts with the pair of 3/4s. All right, so that's if it was in the key of A minor. So its relative major then would be 3 frets up from there, so that would make it C. And the mode that we would use when we are grabbing the major on the low E string would be Ionian. Okay, so in the key of A minor, you've got the natural minor or the relative minor that's sitting at the 5th fret in A. And then you go to its relative major, which is again 3 frets up, playing Ionian. Okay? Then we went to the 5th string. So in the case of the 5th string, the A is located at the 12th fret. It's also located open, but we can visualize the 12th fret a little bit better. So because it's on the 5th string, we have to think of the mode that starts with the natural minor on the 5th string, and in that case, that is Phrygian. So remember Ionian, Dorian, and Phrygian. So it's the 3rd mode. So this is my A right here. I'm going to go to the string above, the low E string, and now I'm going to play Phrygian. Okay? Okay, so that's right where that is. So I'm still in the key of A minor, but because my minor has switched over to the 5th string, the mode that I'm going to slap down, if I'm playing all 6 strings, would be the Phrygian mode. Likewise, the major, the relative major, we said was C, right? So in that case, that's where it is right there on the 15th fret. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the mode that has major as its first note on the 5th string. In that case, the mode is Mixolydian. So what we're going to do is that's where our major is sitting. We're going to go a string before it, right, the low E string, and we're going to put down the Mixolydian mode. Okay, see right there? Could also do it down on the 3rd fret. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So now that was starting with a minor key. So now let's go to a major key. So let's pick G major. So if the song or the key or the track, whatever, is playing in the key of G major, then I'm going to start with Ionian. All right, Ionian at the 3rd fret, because that's where my G root is. I'm just going to go across and back there with Ionian. All right, now that's the major, natural major or relative major, okay? If I want to find the natural minor or the relative minor, in this case, instead of going 3 frets up, I'm now going 3 frets back. So that would be 2nd, 1st, and then open. Well, open is E, so I'm not going to build here, though I could if I wanted to use open strings. I'm going to go up to the 12th fret, and I'm going to put down my regular natural minor mode that starts on the very first string, the 6th string, okay? And that mode, like we've said before, is Aeolian. All right, so I just did Ionian here on the 3rd fret. I discovered that my natural minor, sorry, is E. So I'm not going to do it using open strings. I'm going to go and take that E and I'm going to move it up to the 12th fret where there's another instance of E on that string. And this time I'm going to play the natural minor mode, which is Aeolian, all right? All right, so hopefully that makes sense. I did the major here in G, discovered where that the natural minor or the relative minor was E, and then I moved that up and I did Aeolian there. So we're still in G, so let's go and look at where G major is on the 5th string. So in that case, it is sitting at the 10th fret. So remember, now we're on the 5th string. So which mode has the major note on the first, as the first note on the 5th string? That is Mixolydian. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here. Our major note is right here. We're going to go to the string back and we're going to put down the Mixolydian. There we go. All right, so that was G major, where the G started on the 5th string. And because it does that, if I'm putting the whole mode shape down against that fits that way, it is Mixolydian at the 10th fret. Okay, so now let's go to its relative minor, or natural minor, okay? So we're going to go 3 frets back, and we can do it here because we're on the 5th string and we're high enough to be able to do that. So 1, 2, 3, there is our E note right there. And so that has our natural minor, that has our natural minor sitting on the 5th string. So the mode that starts with the natural minor on the 5th string is Phrygian. So we're going to do the Phrygian mode right there. Okay, so just remember that. So we started in G major, right? And we found that the relative minor was E minor. We didn't do it open. We moved it up to the 12th fret where E also exists. Then we switched over and grabbed G on the 5th string. The 5th string mode for major is Mixolydian. Its relative minor, sitting there on the 7th fret, its relative mode is Phrygian. Okay, so that, hopefully those 2 examples using the key of A and the key of G, A minor and G major, will hopefully clarify things for you there. Let's talk about what we did at the end of our lesson. We talked about mixing pattern 1 with the modes. So if you recall, we were doing pattern 1 in the key of A minor, so we just went straight across first just to get our bearings. Sorry. All right, and then once we did that, we also realized that pattern 1 is our Aeolian mode. So if that means that pattern 1 and Aeolian both share the same location, that means that I can do Mixolydian at the 3rd fret. Because here was where my pattern 1 was, it was my Aeolian. We said that we can superimpose both on top of each other. So if that's the case, then I can also play Mixolydian in that 2 frets back, because I'm referencing my Aeolian mode right there. So what we did was, well, first of all, let's just go up in Mixolydian. All right, now we've reached our highest note in the Mixolydian mode, and now we're going to come back in pattern 1. Okay, did you see what we did there? So we went up, mixolydian, sorry, and then back in pattern 1. Just so that we can get used to mixing the modes with the pentatonics. So now we can go the other way as well. So if you remember when we did mixolydian, that's a 1, 3, 4 at the end. So when we go to our pattern 1 and we play right to the very end, first thing we're going to do is slap down that 1, 3, 4 shape. And we're just going to come back. There's a 2, 4 there, and a 2, 4, and then 3 big stretches. Alright, so let's try that again. So up in pattern 1, up in pattern 1. Line up that 3, 4 shape, and then and then a 2, 4, another 2, 4, 3 big stretches. Alright, so one more time. Sorry. And again, we can go the other way, right? So up and mixolydian, and back in pattern 1. Alright, so we went low, so now let's go high. So what we talked about was when we got to the end of pattern 1 here, we're going to actually go not Aeolian, but we're going to go to Locrian. So think about where Locrian was in reference to an Aeolian on the 5th fret. So if Aeolian is right here, that's our sixth mode, then our Locrian is right here at the 7th fret. Okay, so again, we're in the key of A minor. This is our pattern 1 at the 5th fret. So now we're going to go and find out where Locrian is. Locrian is just 2 frets up. Mixolydian was 2 frets back. Locrian is 2 frets up. So let's throw the Locrian mode in there one more time. Good stuff. Okay, so now let's go right up to the end of Locrian and hold it there, and we can see the shape that we're ending with. Alright, so if you see that there, we've got a big stretch sitting there, and it starts at the same location as our pattern 1 ends. So if I do a pattern 1 all the way up to its highest note, if I slide up to the 12th fret and lay down well, technically I'm sliding up to the 8th fret if I'm using my first finger as a reference. But the whole idea is I then slide into a big stretch starting at the 8th fret. So let's do that slowly. I'm just going to show you here. So there's the last 2 notes of pattern 1, right? And then we're just going to slide into that big stretch. So one more time. So we're going to go up the last 2 notes of pattern 1 and then slide into Locrian. And that's where we have 2 big stretches right at the beginning there. And a pair of 3 4s and a pair of 2 4s. Alright, so let's do a 1 string back from the high E. So we're going to go B string, E string. This is all pattern 1. And then we're going to slide into a big stretch right there. And then we came back using the Locrian mode. Alright, so all together slowly going up in pattern 1, sliding into Locrian, and then coming back. Big slide there, right? Big stretch ready to go at the 8th fret. Alright, let's try it again. Big stretch now. I'm just coming right back in Locrian. And again, you can go around and around and around. Let's go the other way now. So we're going to go all the way up to the end of our Locrian mode. Our pinky there is now going to slide to where our first finger is. And we're just going to come back in pattern 1. So all the way up in Locrian. And then sliding back pattern 1. And one more time up in Locrian. back pattern 1. Once more. Okay, so going in both directions, up in pattern 1, back in Locrian, up in Locrian, back in pattern 1, up in Mixolydian, back in pattern 1, up in pattern 1, back in Mixolydian. So that way what you've got then is you've got a really nice bluesy area right there at the 5th fret to work in those pentatonics, right? Because we always like to play pattern 1. But now we can expand it using all of the notes, if you will, from that key, from that minor key, right? Going lower and going higher. We didn't really do Aeolian itself, but what I wanted you to just see was how those modes stack on either side of pattern 1. And we'll do other modes as well. We'll talk about pattern 2 a little bit next week probably. There's one more thing that we did, and that was the sequence of 4 for our pentatonic pattern 1. And what we talked about though is we had a little bit of an issue because you do that little hammer-on thing sometimes when you're trying to reach back to begin a new sequence of 4 on a previous string. So we talked about doing finger substitution. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. So if we're going up pattern 1, and we're going to do it in a sequence of 4, you're going to go up 4 notes starting with your first finger, and we're going to reach back with our pinky. Okay, and then our first finger is going to hop. Now he can hop without creating any noise. That's pretty easy. But what we said was, now that third finger is going to have to get to that previous string. And if we use a third finger, we're going to end up with a sort of like a pull-off kind of thing. We don't want that because then it breaks our sequence. So what we're going to do instead was we were going to substitute. So see how that works right there. So I'm just going to climb up again. Try to zoom in as much as I can here. So that's pretty normal. Going to reach back with the pinky and climb up. Okay, and then we're just going to do a hop with our first finger. And we're going to go sideways with our second finger now. See where our third finger was? Our second finger is going to grab that string behind. Okay, and then we're going to hop again, first finger. Second finger reaches behind. Hop with the first. Now here it's pretty simple, right? Because we can reach back with the third, that's no problem. And then first finger hops once more. Okay, so if we do it again, so first finger, then pinky, first finger again, second finger now reaches over at that 7th fret, hopping with the first, second finger once more, hopping with the first again. Okay, now we're using our pinky, and when we reach back it's just the third, and then first finger hopping it once more. And then when we come back, we talked about rolling. All we're doing, excuse me, all we're going to do is roll. So we're just going back 4 notes. Okay, and I need to be able to grab that high E string, so I'm just going to roll my first finger. So just kind of let that first knuckle go flat there. Okay, and then continue on with our sequence. Again, third finger, I'm going to be reaching with our pinky here. All right, I should close up a little bit here, so let's take from the beginning again. So pinky, first finger, rolling. Okay, third finger is getting used, so I'm going to grab the pinky because I can, because that note's outside of the third finger. Rolling with the first, rolling with the third, rolling with the first again. Really monotonous here, third, first. Okay, and I'm using my pinky again. I need to reach back with the third, so no problem, no rolling there. Okay, so once more pinky, and then rolling with the first, pinky again, rolling with the first. Okay, now we're rolling with the third, rolling with the first, rolling with the third, rolling with the first, third finger again, we're going from the pinky to the third, no problem, and done. Okay, so hopefully that covered everything. And again, I apologize for all the audio trouble I've been having with this camera. Hopefully we won't run into it anymore. And have a great weekend. Bye.